Airports are weird. Sometimes things make common sense in normal life, but as soon as you get to the airport, it's the opposite. This makes it easy to make mistakes no matter how clever you are. Sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, and the only way to learn is to make these airport mistakes for yourself. Or you can just watch this video and save yourself the headache. Let's go. Airport mistake number one is locking your checked bags. You'd think using those little TSA approved locks to close your zippers and secure things would be a good idea, but that's not always the case. The idea is that these TSA agents have a universal key for these locks, and so they can open them if they need to check inside your bags for anything. But in reality, they just prefer to wreck your bag. Every single time I lock my zippers, my luggage arrives with the zippers cut off. One time I even tried to make it easy for them by closing my zippers with carabiners instead of locks, and they still cut off my zippers and they stole my carabiners. One better alternative option if you want to secure your bag is to use saran wrap, which sometimes you can get at the airport, or if you want to do it cheaper, you can just do it yourself at home. Another solution I've used is zip tying your zippers shut, but that also comes with the same risk with the TSA agents. They might decide it's more fun to cut off your zippers instead of just cutting off the zip ties, and honestly, that wouldn't surprise me. Now, I imagine these ruthless luggage attacks wouldn't happen if they had no reason to check inside your bags, and that brings me to a related tip. Put anything that might be considered suspicious, like liquids or powders or medicines or whatever, in one of the outside top pockets that's not locked, that's easy to access. If you make it easy for them to examine your bags, hopefully it won't arrive teared to shreds. Airport mistake number two is not protecting your skin. This is something I actually never bothered to do, but I'll share with you because most people don't know it, and for some people it might be important. A research study showed that pilots and cabin crew members are twice as likely to get melanomas than the general population. One theory for this is that the UV radiation is way higher when you're way up in the air than it is down on Earth. Because of this, sunscreen might not be a bad idea, or at the very least, don't fall asleep with your face drooling up against the window. Airport mistake number three is not having a data plan ready for you when you arrive. You'd think that all airports have free Wi-Fi nowadays, but that is not the case. And let me tell you, it is not fun arriving to one of these Wi-Fi-less airports and trying to arrange a ride or meet with someone who's there to pick you up, or try to find a way to get to your accommodation. It's always a good idea to research beforehand if the airport you're going to be arriving in has Wi-Fi or if they sell data plans in the airport. Another option is to simply buy a travel eSIM before you leave so that you have connection as soon as you land. If you do decide to go that route, make sure to grab the Project Untethered discount in the description. Alrighty, mistake number four is overspending on food. The airport is the last place you want to be with a growling stomach. Food can be outrageously expensive, and so I recommend two different options. The first is pretty obvious, and that is to always pack snacks. The second option is to consider getting lounge access, which usually includes free food. Our favorite credit card gives us lounge access in over 1,000 lounges worldwide, and if you're interested in that, I'll put my refer a friend link down in the description. But another option, if you don't fly that much, is to just buy a one-off pass when you get to the airport. One of these passes might not cost that much extra than just buying a full meal in the airport, and plus you'll have a comfortable place to stay while you wait for your flight. Mistake number five is not being strategic when your flights are canceled. If your flight gets canceled, people are going to rush to the counter to try to get help to get their flight rescheduled. You should do this too, but while waiting in line, call the customer service number, because you never know, you might get a hold of them before you get to the front of the line. That'll give you a better chance of getting on the next flight out, and you also won't have to deal with a grumpy customer service agent that everyone's been yelling at. On the same line as getting flights canceled, number six is getting too excited when an airline offers free vouchers to bump you to the next flight. It's common practice for airlines to overbook their flights with the hopes that some people just don't show up. But if everyone shows up, they won't have enough seats. When this happens, they'll start making announcements offering free flight vouchers for anyone who's willing to wait until the next flight. And in some cases, if you check in late, you might not even get an option and you automatically get bumped. This is what happened to me when I tried to fly to Brazil for the Olympics, because everyone who bought their flight went on the flight and nobody missed. The thing is, when they start offering these freebies, they start by lowballing you to see if anyone bites. That means it's usually not the best idea to take the first offer. Also, if you do get bumped, make sure to ask for cash instead of a voucher. The amount of cash they can offer will depend on the country you're in, the amount of the delay that there is, and the type of flight. But in some cases, they can offer up to 4 times as much as a one-way ticket, so we're talking potentially over $1,000. Before we get to the last couple, I'm making another video on things that airports don't want you to know, and so make sure to subscribe to get notified when that one drops. Mistake number 7 is forgetting to measure your luggage beforehand. Most airlines aren't going to measure your luggage or carry-on bags unless they're obviously way too big, but it's always a risk. The risk is usually biggest on budget airlines where they try to nickel and dime you for everything. The stringiest airline that we've flown on is Ryanair, and their personal item size is way smaller than most other airlines, and so if you're not careful, you might get caught in their trap and have to pay extra for your personal item if it doesn't fit in their bins. If you're having trouble fitting everything into a small backpack, check out this packing hacks video next for some clever tips to make it happen. Mistake number 8 is trusting the gate on your boarding pass. If you trust the gate on your boarding pass, you may walk way to the end of one side of the airport and realize that your gate was changed. And if it changed and you don't realize it, you really might be in trouble. To avoid this, always confirm your gate on the departure screens in the airport. Mistake number 9 is staying hydrated. Flying days are days where it's actually a smart idea to dehydrate yourself. At least it's smart if you prefer not to bug your neighbors every 20 minutes to get up and go pee. It's also a good idea to hit the bathroom before boarding your plane so you'd never have to use the dirty, nasty airplane bathroom. Speaking of germs, the next mistake is forgetting to pack sanitizing wipes or sanitizing gel. Airport tray tables are nasty and one of the dirtiest places on a plane. You never know if the last person had their fungus feet slathered all over the tray table that you're about to eat on or rest your head on. If you don't believe me, check out the passenger shaming Instagram account where you can see all the nasty things that flyers do on a plane. For peace of mind, it's always a good idea to sanitize your tray table yourself as soon as you get on the plane. Guys, if you want to avoid spending more than you have to on your next trip, check out this playlist next, which is jam-packed of cheap travel hacks to save money. All right, guys, bye-bye.